Introduction. Never before has the diary of Pierre LaDue been published in its entirety, until now. Here, for the first time, are all known entries, speeches, transcripts, and notes compiled in chronological order. Early reprints of the diary brought the first-hand account of the alien invasion to the masses. The fact it was originally handwritten suggested it was unhackable. This seal of credibility helped transcend the hopelessness that gripped the world, and became the panacea so many sought. Lost was the mythological lesson of the goddess of cures. No single remedy exists for all difficulties. The diary's popularity made it ripe for manipulation. Once it was billed as the new opium for the masses, questions arose about the initial publisher. Rumors circulated it was the aliens themselves that printed the early editions. And in the age of communication, it only took a single catchy rumination to rattle loose from some paranoid mind to spread like a brush fire in autumn. It hardly matters how a fire starts once it rages out of control. Viral attention fed speculation. Theories piled up one after another. Research sought to push back on the noise. Documentation was produced to undercut agendas. Agendas fought back with counter-documentation to reinforce whatever was undercut. And so on. As more and more material was released, problems were buried and took root. Those roots took hold when published in conjunction with the original text. Additions, retractions, addendums, and subjoined continuations confused matters. Truth was getting trampled. The more the conspiracies, the more the explanations. Like a game of Mogoro Taji, you smash one mole, two pop up, and so on until you lose. Few games are designed to only produce losers. This contradicts their very nature. The possibility of winning is their purpose. The attraction is to distract from the inevitable outcome of life. The invasion was the greatest test of humanity's ability to reason. LaDue's diary held a truth as powerful as any scripture, with the promise to turn the tide of the war, much like Zeus's lightning or Poseidon's trident. But layers piled atop layers and blurred the source material. Appendices as expendable as the organ in which the word derives its name muddied the waters. Even the bravest historian dared not wade in. "Dare not waste life on another fool's journey" became the slogan, and in its wake, LaDue's most ardent followers were silenced. But silence does not mean erased. Invaders might be able to wield power over people, but not over their will. Belief in our ability to adapt was held back, but not snuffed out. So long as there is belief in the lifeblood to act, there is hope. The youth of subsequent generations took interest in covert editions of the text. Often these complete unedited accounts, or unaltered, unabridged versions, were crowded by authentication stamps from various underground factions seeking to brand themselves as truthsayers. Shortened, simplified, easy-to-read editions began to appear at the same time as expanded tomes with supporting supplemental editions, or skeleton keys. Most received backlash by the ardent LaDue enthusiasts who began to emerge from the depths of the earth. But one indisputable fact emerged and was accepted by all. The journal even became embroiled with the latest failure to create a new, unified human language. This idea seems to arise every couple generations, e.g. Esperanto. However, this effort seemed promising in a post-invasion world. With truth, trust, and unity at the center of most conversations, it appeared like the world was primed for a single human language. Scientists and lexicographers the world over spent years attempting to craft a more truthful language, Latinized as Drew. But in the end, it went the way of Esperanto. However, it bears noting that in the effort to popularize Drew, LaDue's journal was among the few texts translated into the now dead language. Scholarly work resumed on the text. Copyrights were disregarded as pre-alien, pre-truth constructs. It's generally accepted that the most popular version of the story is not necessarily the most accurate. Often it is not when one considers the authors of history are the victors. Victors can sometimes be cheats. Cheaters rarely prosper for long. Why should we be beholden to the mistakes of the past? There must be a way to take into account the oldest surviving text and the toll that time has taken on the implications of said text. This edition has compiled all accounts, then deployed algorithms to reconstruct all commonalities. The hope is to weed out falsity and to code hearsay. The results were promising. In sum, over the last century, questions of authenticity circulated, competing revisions saw their day in the sun, corrupt interpretations stoked fires of falsification, and the flames raged out of control. LaDue's beacon of truth and wisdom was sullied. This new edition seeks to unify all verifiable diary entries and notes, and thus rescue the most important account of our alien atrocity from the flames of our imperfect past. In the interest of transparency, the editors of this edition employ and expand on the veritable dating theory for LaDue's journal. This is stated plainly to negate bias objection. This argument, often deployed in the political sphere, is meant to skew LaDue's words and angle them away from the enlightenment they seek. The publisher wishes this position to be clear at the outset in the hopes direct lines will make it easier for the reader to draw conclusions. Too many editions have advertised themselves as conservative or liberal outlooks, only to reverse their position in the endnotes in order to ambush those they wish to convert. As an example, the few entries which are either reimaginings or reminiscences of times past, often fictitiously dated, are notated or appear at the end of the text. Many of these falsified entries are now generally accepted to have been written under coercion and/or drugs, illicit, medical, and alien. By presenting them in tandem with LaDue's initial words, it is the editor's hope to shed light on the manipulations at work, along with the literal attempt to rewrite history, which, for better or worse, is very much a part of the story. With all the original material assembled in chronological order, revisions became easier to spot and will lend themselves to the story at large while allowing the veracity of the author's original voice to sing through the slog. A brief appendix is provided for those looking to break out their historian's lens and fixate on fancy facts, track backwards the controversy on particular passages, and reinforce reasoning behind particular inclusions and exclusions. It is the editor's and publisher's intention to transmit the most reliable account in the interest of absolute truth. It is still unknown exactly how long Pierre was held by the Yaure in the depths of the earth, or exactly what happened to him beyond what his words describe. Unfortunately, as this goes to press, this is still considered a controversial publication of the revered text. It is the publisher's belief that this will be the accepted final form of the journal. It is only from common ground that well-read scholars may align from all sides on the subject, heretofore eliminating the misperceptions of the material and unify the populace. Invaders and terrorists sought to use LaDue's notoriety to corrupt the masses with a false narrative. By transparently rebuilding the document, it is hoped that that narrative can be reset. May this finally be the foundational truth our time needs, from which all humans may build more securely upon. LaDue is one of the saviors of humanity. This is his testament. Axion 104-BY.